Okay, is this to you or is this to someone else? Well, if you're watching it, it's to you. There's actually only one person that this is being sent to, and you're currently listening to it. So, why is it so cryptic? Well, because in fact there is a message that is to be cryptic. But it doesn't have to do with all these drones or whatever you UAPs, whatever you want to call them. It doesn't have anything to do with that. That's we got past that in the last video. It's yes they're ours. Yes, we're saying they're not, and yes they're to be used as a display of great horrible things to come in another country. They're just putting it in ours first so that they can have proof that our own people didn't know that it existed. And then when it comes to their country, they'll say, okay, it's nothing to do with us, even though it's everything to do with us, because that's the prelude to us destroying their country. And I don't know why we as a country have been doing that, but it seems that a lot of people have been yelling patriotism, and that yell is getting a little bit long on the truth. To me, anyway, you know, if you can justify the last war, I guess you can justify the next war. I can't seem to justify any of them. Um, I do know why, and it's about greed. It's not about politics. It's about greed, and I've had enough of it. But I don't know who you put in that doesn't get affected by greed. I'm sure hoping Donald Trump is the guy. He's already got plenty. He noticed he brought a few guys in with him that also got plenty, and we know that those guys all end up owning less when it's over, whereas the showstopper idiots we got in there now that all come out way richer than they went going in, and just that metric alone is enough in my book to tell me that the guy was truly had the country in mind, because if he did, he didn't have time to give his personal finances proper attention. So, yeah, that that's what we ended up with. And I say proper attention. I mean, just to him, proper attention is everything you got all the time. You can only do that in one direction. So, God love his kids. Let them come in there and take over and keep things going while old Pop's serving the country. Yeah, he'll do. He'll do us proud again. Yeah. He's going to kick some. You're going to see some butt kicking too. All right, has nothing to do with that. Has nothing to do with drones. Has nothing to do with really much of anything that's currently on topic. But let's just say you were painting uh, a, a, a let's make it simple. A motorcycle helmet, old style motorcycle helmet. It's got up over, big orb, and you could paint it, maybe paint a fancy color or a fancy stripe or something. But you're painting it, and the last thing you got to do is put that last coat of clear over everything, every surface, and you're shooting it from 6 different um, orientations. And wouldn't it be best if you had a robot that held the hat and rolled it around in front of you while you just aimed at one spot? And that seems to not be available for, like, if I haven't seen it at Harbor Freight yet. Although I'm going to tell you, if it comes out, it won't be long. They'll be selling a bunch of them things. So let's say you were doing that, but now what you got is you got some spots on it that have been repaired. They got body filler and, got the gouges that had different colored pigment filler, and you got some what do you call that stuff? Are you gonna put a bind? No, it's not a binder. The bottom coat primer. Are you gonna, you could have some primer in spots that needed to cover certain other things. So the thing's pretty well camouflaged out, and you got to put your spray paint of beautiful on it. And you notice the first coat, um, there was a significant shadow. You put a perfect first coat of your new pretty coat, but there's a shadow, and you see the shadow through it, and you can tell that's just not not getting the coverage you want. Here's the kicker. And I'm going to tell you this up front, but hold on a second. It's a quick teaser out of this. Obviously, if you put more paint on, it's going to cover the shadow, or just you see what I'm saying. Your coverage will hide that shadow, whatever. What most people are not cognizant of, don't come up with. I didn't when I was painting that. Took me a while, and then I finally figured it out. If on your first coat you can see a shadow, it will be mathematically impossible for you to ever get rid of that shadow, no matter how much paint you put on that helmet. Because each coat, now, I'm going to go into I could have done this from the back door, but I'm going the front door today. You're hiding a percentage of that shadow. Let's say, when you're looking at the shadow, let's call that 100%. And when you put that first coat on, maybe the shadow effect went down by 30%. Okay. Well, the next coat's going to go down 30%. No, it actually won't. And what's really bad is if you didn't beat 50% by a bunch, you don't have a prayer. But because the second coat is only going to take 30% of the remaining shadowness that's there. So instead of going to 60, you'll be lucky to get to 50. And such with some subsequent coats. No matter how many you put on, you'll never quite get to the 0% on the shadowness scale. It can't be done. So what ends up happening is inevitably, at some point in the process, you're going to get frustrated and shoot just a touch more paint on there than you should have, and the whole thing's going to turn into a goopy run. And goopy runs are terrible, man. They're hard on your ego as a painter. Very difficult. So, yeah, you don't want that. So, to be considered that you could do this paint job after paint job and find out that as long as you were in that situation where your paint had a shadow, any kind of what do they call it? Cherry. What's the name of the paint that you can see through partway through it? I was wanting to say something cherry something. Candy coat, cotton candy coat, something candies. Yeah, you get the idea. Oh, come on. So you paint a base coat down that's got like a golden, heavy golden metallic look to it, very shiny, and then you put the coat of this stuff that's got, it's basically a clear coat with a little bit of the pigmented paint mixed into it. Candy coat. Is that, there's a name of it's escaping me for some strange reason. Well, knock myself upside the head when I remember. So simple. Anyway, this can be done in any color scheme, but pick one out, and what you find out is the heavier side of that is just a plain old pigment that doesn't cover well. It's like the heavy, thick side of candy something. Cotton candy, what? I've done it, man. I've done it in all sorts of colors, and it's gorgeous when it's done right. But it usually ends up turning into a goopy mess of frustration, especially on a curved surface. Um, Cotton candy. No, it's not cotton candy. Well, isn't that terrible? Well, I don't want to guys put you guys through plenty of this. When it comes to me, it comes to me. Um, but yeah, you can't. It doesn't matter. You're not going to be able to get the right number of coats. So what your choice is to try come up with a go to the paint store and buy a can of paint that is compatibly chemically to yours, hopefully even the same as part of your what you're planning to apply, and get it matched. It doesn't have to be perfectly close, just reasonably close to your color, and then go ahead and mask everything off and put a coat of that on, and only coat that until you can't see through it anymore. Don't attempt to get a finish coat on it. Just get enough on it to where you cannot see any of the shadow of the stuff that we were talking previously. You can't see any. I'll get that on there. And then go ahead and begin your play pretty paint that you're going to be your final coat. And go ahead and start doing that, per instructions, because you're going to have a base coat, and then you're going to have there might be a metal coat. There might be definitely going to be a a top coat, but then on top of that there may be a gloss coat. So you got this plan that plan starts on top of this other paint that was only applied to where you can't see through it. And here's the secret sauce on the math. It doesn't matter. Where there is no shadow, you have no shadow to attempt to hide. There is no shadow. So no matter how little within reason you put on, you're putting your pretty coat over something that's reasonably close with no shadow and applied perfectly. It would be almost impossible to have a flaw. Well, it's always impossible, but to have a flaw in that top coat. But it would be impossible to have a flaw on that top coat that was based on a color shadow. So just something to pay attention to, because it has nothing to do with painting, and it has everything to do with life. And there are some things that you're going to try to accomplish that the best you can do is get part of the job done. And you can keep trying as hard as you want. You'll never get there. And it's a very frustrating thing, and we all do it. We've all done it before. I know I've done it before. Yes, I've definitely. I'm trying to decide if that's the story I want to eat. I'll do it in another video. That's fair. You remind me about that. I'll share what that was. But we've all done it, and yeah, if you put down a path that is smooth for whatever job is that you're putting in front of you, lay out the path in front of it, the smooth top surface that is all uniform. It can be color, it can be sound, it can be texture, it can be liquid, whatever parameter. Make sure it's uniform, because, and you make sure that it's uniform in the arena that your task might have proven difficulties. You want that arena to be smooth. So you send out ahead of you people who are not skilled at producing final product, but what they're skilled at is producing a level playing field in the arena that you're about to do battle in. And you make sure that if you own those guys, you own the arena. And the arena that you're playing in is really what this video is about. And I'm trying to bring some of you guys back to earth slow. And I apologize to the ones that are just going to come crashing down, but it's you'll be all right. You'll be all right. Rax, come get you, pick you up, dust you off. Don't worry about it. You're going to be just fine. But you got to have control over your process, over your projected plan. Not so much that you're the prophet and you can see what's going to happen in advance, and that's why you did so well. It's not that near as much as you look forward and said, I'm good at this. All I need is a level playing field. And then spend your time making the playing field level. By the way, an activity that will never get you in trouble. And that's kind of important too. Expose you're not your demons. Your demons you have been open enough about, and we're just good there. But exposing the demons of your opponent is it's lovely, and it's lovely if you do it in a way that you really didn't do it. You just kind of let them do it. They're going to do it anyway. And then while they're exposing their own demons, your job is to step out of the way and allow it. And then that level playing field will become the killing ground for you to take control over your enemy's demons. So you're not killing your enemy. Your enemy can become your frenemy. But what you're killing and slaying and coming against is the demons of your enemy. And certainly I would tell you and warn you, do not just go into the arena with the intent that I know my enemy's demons and I'm going to go slay them. Because even though that may be, you may have that strength with you. That spiritual strength may be a part of you at that point. And, you know, I would be with you on that. But the point I'm making is if you have not taken out and exposed and slayed your own demons first, they're coming inside of you into this battle arena, and they will burst out of you and become the worst part of your enemy on the field against your enemy's enemy. This is not good, friends. Please. All I'm telling you is battle's coming. You see the battle, you know the battle, and you know how to win the battle. And I'll tell you how to maneuver and how to manipulate that battle. But if you don't first seek the Lord, ask forgiveness of your sins by the one who provided the path to that forgiveness by shedding his own, having his own blood shed for us who are not worthy. We don't have a chance. And with the aid of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, with his aid, you can, in your own prayer closet, expose and destroy those demons that are taking your life, taking control of your life, whether you're admitting it or not. I told you this was for you. You didn't think it was. You had to wait in to see for sure. But yeah, those demons, you can expose and destroy them with nobody but you and your Lord. It's all that's required. I will tell you this, a stronger bond is formed if you allow a trusted friend to join you in that. This is a long step away from where I just took you. And I wouldn't recommend that you go into the closet of a friend without having first examined your own critically. And then examine the fruits of his, so that you don't get invited into uh, someone else's killing field. Not a good idea. So you have to observe those around you, look at their fruits, decide whether or not they have purified themselves and made themselves worthy, not of you, but of the Lord. And if they are, then they're the ones that you can take with you on your battle against others. Um, but you have to be very mindful of greed, jealousy, and anger. You have to be, you have to like just first you got to take care of it in you, of course. Then you start looking not so, not in a judgmental way, but seeking out those in your friends, and so that you can help your friend. You never ever are you going to reveal that what you know to your friend about this. You're just going to help and guide him into receiving what he needs to receive, and allow him to do that on his own. Much, much good better. Much good better. You go do that. That's much good better. I have been involved in many um, sessions. This isn't quite like the Omen or whatever you called, but yeah, I, being around a lot of people getting relief from demons, and I've seen some physical things that I'm not going to talk about here. It's just, no, well, maybe some other time we'll go through some of them that they're just too far out there. Um, and then others that are just heartfelt, that you just see the demons leave, and the person, it's not so much about the demons, the show the demons putting on, it's about watching the person receiving their first real dose of joy. Man, watching those faces are just light up. That's that's an incredible miracle there. When you see it happen in the spirit. It's gorgeous. Definitely a gorgeous thing. So yeah, be careful what you're painting over. Be very careful what you're painting over. You may not have the pigment it takes to hide what's behind you. Does that have anything to do with trying to cover sin? Oh, you did. You figured it out. Okay, one extra donut for you. That's what it is. You can't do it. You can't do it. You gotta get somebody else to do it. We know who that somebody else is. The only way you can get it is ask him. So go ask him. Do I need? I mean, what part of that was not clear? Yeah. Or I like John Wick. Yeah. I don't know if I'd do a good John Wick, but I would like to. Just that one word. I mean, I think one movie he did like the entire um, the entire script had 326 words for him in the whole movie, and 254 of them were yeah. But he see, I tell him like I'm falling asleep when I do it. He's got this conviction that tells you like a page worth of script in one. Yeah, yeah. It's like yeah. That it goes up, then comes down. If you could measure it and see it on a scope or something. Yeah. So I'll practice that. You guys practice any of the above because they're all good. And yeah, the balloons. Obviously, don't worry about the balloons. I'm saying don't worry about they're going to do with the balloons right now. All they're going to do is generate as much fear, scare. They're going to try and generate a bunch of fools. They're going to tell the senator that they were from an Iranian mothership and get him to go on make a fool of himself on television. And Whereas what's weird is everything he said was correct and true, except it's not Iranians. Take that out, and the rest is actually correct. Hold on a second. So you can turn a guy that's, a sitting senator of some repute and turning him into a blithering idiot with one word. And that's amazing. That's that's just truly amazing. But no, they're not Iranians. They're ours, and they're not going to say all right. The fact is, it's bad. It's bad. It's noteworthy to say. Well, the reason I know it's that they are ours is that the military denies that they're ours. Now, but in this case, you get a two banger because they denied they're ours. That's clearly evidence that they are. But they said that they don't know whose they are. There's there's the lock pin. If they did not know truly whose drones these were, they would not be on television saying one way or the other anything about them. Not only would they deny they existed, they would not even honor it with a response. What drones? Well, I don't know what drones you're talking about. That if they really did not know, no matter what level of concern that they had over them, if they didn't know where they're coming from, they don't know nothing about them. If they know something about them, that's different. If they know something about them and they know they're theirs, what are they going to say? Well, they might not even be telling their spokesperson, the lovely Cuban lady. She's kind of nice. Can't trust her, obviously, but or Cabbage Patch. That one of those. They both basically said the same thing yesterday. That they're not ours, and that but they're not. They agreed that they were not Iranians, but they said they don't know whose they are, and that's the key to the whole. Oh yes, we do. We know they're ours. You notice they're not doing any damage at all. Now I saw what was supposedly a photo of one that crashed that was taken from an overpass, and it really looked like an airplane to me. But I don't know. Was there an airplane crash? Usually, airplane crashes like they don't schedule them, but they certainly are searchable. You can search every airplane crash that happened since Orville and Wilbur, and the data's all there. How many people were on board, how many passed away, how many made it, how much damage was done. And a video of Farmer Brown saying, I saw it coming in over, whatever. So if there is a plane down, then we know about it. And if we don't know about it, then what's going on? But suppose somebody had a video of a plane, smaller plane. It looked like the body of a jumbo jet, but much smaller. It's like shaped like that. So like a small plane, like most of the I don't know what there are nowadays who make some Cessnas and Cubs and those kind of guys. They're the shape is different. They're much smaller, but the shape is different. It wouldn't have showed up. But now a small jet, like say a Learjet or something, that shape's pretty much the same. So maybe, and I didn't see any wings or engines. Yes, it looked just like a fuselage, but it was definitely crossways up in the middle of a 4-lane highway. How do you actually aim and hit a 4-lane highway? Well, gee gosh, for some reason you're coming down, you just realized it right now, and there's no airport within 10 miles of you, and somebody just shot the wings off, whatever, you're going down. If you have any steering capability whatsoever, you're going to look down, get a visual on the longest, straightest road that you can find, which will be an interstate of sorts. And they crisscross all over the place. Depending on how high you are and how much time you have, you're going to be heading straight for one. And yes, there's going to be traffic on it, and there's not a thing you can do with it except try to land, depending on the size of your plane, try to land on the side where you're going with the traffic. And what you'll have is um, maybe a couple fewer head-on fatalities because you're going with the traffic instead of against it. Now, I know that sounds, I don't know where their training would go. It would probably tell them one side or the other. It might say just go for the middle because no matter what, things are going to get bad. And usually there's a gully in the middle. Sometimes there's culverts and stuff that can hurt you bad. So I would think they would tend to tell them if they had a choice to aim off the center, but I don't know how far or which way. But if you look at this plane, if you look at um, the the video that was provided on Drone Watch, the plane is turned like on an angle, but it's right in the center of the highway. So it's like whoever this pilot was, they knew what they were doing. They came straight down the center of that thing. And then as it came to a stop, it probably hit a yield sign or something, whatever, and twisted it a little bit. It was probably heading directly straight along that interstate. And whether the wreck happened during the day or not, I don't know. I mean, you don't know how long later there would be quite a bit of disturbance going on there, law enforcement, lights, and traffic. So it could have gone into the night. So you see what I'm saying? I really don't know anything about this crash as far as where it was, when it was. It could have been in a different state 12 years ago. I see, that's where I don't know. And if you clip that photo into what all's going on and say, hey, I got this photo, and try and find a place that looks reasonably similar in Delaware last night, and I haven't been able to find anything on the news, and you put that out, there's going to be a couple billion people hitting on that saying, I'm searching this part over here and I see where they've been messing with this. That. It'll just go, hold on a second. It can just go anywhere from there. It just goes on and on. Excuse me, I need a little neck stretch there. It's starting to get dusky here. Well, dusky, yeah. But I'm not in Sandusky. So that's what I'm thinking. That was a video. That was just a fake. But that's my call on it, and I could be absolutely wrong. I'm just putting into my head, is that fakeable? And the answer is yeah. And could you make the fake look so much like what you were hoping to see? Yeah. The only thing you can't control really is that you got the fuselage shape. The size is relative because you can see it against the interstate, and so you kind of get a relativistic size. It's pretty big. Where were the wings? Well, they were missing. They probably tore off 350 yards back, but I get that part. But it doesn't look like any kind of drone anybody. I think somebody just faked it and did it for hits. But the thing is, why would you get so many hits on something like that? Well, because everybody and his brothers out looking for him right now. There's journalists and even people, podcast people like me, just saying I'm flying up to New Jersey and I'm going to get a room and or stay in my RV that I got or do whatever, and I'm going to go buy a $10,000 lens on uh, from Best Buy, and then I'm going to sit out here and show you right where I'm videoing, and I'm going to sit here and wait for them things. If there's 50 of them coming in off the water, I'm going to be right here and seeing it. And then he goes out and shows, well, I see something up here, there's something over here, and something over, and it basically showing you some airplanes going over. And he said, well, I'm going to have more tomorrow. Well, you don't ever hear from him again. So, what's going on? There's people going out there. It's, probably like I bet it is. It's like the California gold rush. Think about it. People went to California from all over the country, as fast as they could get there because they didn't want to get beat out by somebody else to jump their claim. As fast as they could get there, they went there to go get gold. That there was gold, but it wasn't, like you went out to California and looked down and said, my God, look, here's some gold, and look, there's some gold over here. And over. No, it's not quite like that. You seriously have to know what you're doing to find the stuff in the first place. And in a second, if you don't, it's not like this guy got lucky. That luck doesn't really have a whole lot to do with that. Luck has maybe a little bit to do with it. With all your skills, you have been provided with a lush area. You match those two together, and you get a happy fella. But I think that's what this is, a bunch of people going after those gold shots. And it's going to go away. I believe there's an aerial show being put on by the U.S. government on some basis. I doubt that it would be a timely basis. Most of them will probably be broken down and stuff like that, but we still get some dazzling stuff through. Perhaps, yeah. And then is it going to be used again soon? Yeah. But, they got to pack it all up. They got to go through and analyze all the things that didn't go well and need to be repaired and take care of all that in a nice leisurely fashion. I'd say 3 months minimum, 6 months more likely before they're ready to say, well, we can put this on whatever doorstep you like. And we're off to the races again. So I don't think Trump's going to know anything about it because these people were going to get all of a sudden attacked by something that Trump doesn't even know is happening. And that's not necessarily good.